Hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are tracking storms across the western portion of Oklahoma and the eastern side of Colorado today. We go back down into Oklahoma and Texas tomorrow. So that hail risk is mainly just to the east of Denver today. I know that everyone has their eyes on Denver, and there's a potential for severe storms today. But for the most part, it's going to be to the east of you guys. Now for tomorrow, we go back into Oklahoma and Texas, and then we have heavy rain just over and over and over across the south. And that's going to cause a flash flood problem for a good portion of us, and we'll get into those risks as well. Let's go ahead and start with what happened yesterday. Now, yesterday we were watching for storms across our New England states. For the most part, this was a wind event. We got a little bit of hail across the Appalachians in West Virginia. Other than that, all of our hail was focused down in Texas, Fort Stockton areas, right along I-10, where some of our most impressive storms were, right through Junction, Texas, which is a common place for hail this week. Corpus Christi, you guys got a lot of rain, and you guys are going to get more rain over the next few days thanks to this front that's setting up and just kind of stalling in Texas. So what's going on is we've got this short wave that's moving through. We've actually got two short waves for tomorrow. And that's what we're going to see as we head into the weekend. It's not this big severe weather outbreak. It's these small, almost what we call mesoscale, little systems that are coming through. So other than that, we've basically got stationary rain bands across Oklahoma and Texas causing a flash flood issue, but not a severe weather issue. Actually, all of that severe weather will be out to the west in the western portion of Texas, western portion of Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and eastern side of Colorado, where we are expecting the best chance for hail today across the eastern side of the state. We've got one more area to watch today, and that'll be across the east coast, anywhere from North Carolina into Virginia. For the most part today, most of these storms will stay non-severe. We've got a low risk for high wind speeds, although wind will probably be the most common hazard here. If we zoom into Colorado, maybe a tornado or two is possible in these areas. Again, just barely to the east of Denver, just barely to the east of Colorado Springs. We're talking about Ray, Lamar, and Guymon, Oklahoma here for your best chance for tornadoes, hail, and high winds today. Speaking of hail, what's your forecasted max hail size? We've got 2 inches on the board today. I think that's absolutely possible from 1, maybe 2 storms. For the most part, again, not all of these storms will go severe. Where are we expecting the largest hailstones? Again, we're talking about the eastern portion of Colorado. Most of West Texas will have those smaller hailstones just because that's really where the shortwave is hitting for today. Let's talk about timeline now. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we've got rain bands across Oklahoma right now in the southern portion of Texas. That's causing you guys some flash flood issues, which we'll get to here in just a minute. Other than that, your severe weather is really going to be focused out in the western side of these states. And then we've got a little bit of severe weather from the leading line of this long line of showers going through the east coast today. Again, North Carolina and Virginia. Now let's zoom down into Colorado, the area that we're expecting the most amount of severe weather today. We've got a few isolated storms, mainly this afternoon. Here you go, right along I-70 here. You can see that one storm. Okay, there's your hailer. Again, it's just to the east of Denver. Could it go into Denver? I know a lot of people have questions about when is hail getting into Denver. If these storms form a little bit earlier and they go up just 20, 30 miles to the west, it's possible for you guys to get a hailstorm. But right now, it looks like everything is going to set up to the east of you guys. So just to the east of I-25 here, we've got a few more storms expected as we head into the evening hours, and then that severe weather risk goes down as the sun goes down. So severe weather risk decreases as the sun sets. One look at your significant hail model here, you can tell why we are expecting some large hail in this area. We've got those reds trying to pop in here, especially on the far, far eastern side of Colorado near the Kansas state line. Again, this is where you're going to see the potential for largest hail in this area. Not as much in Texas. You can't rule it out in Texas, but it's absolutely more possible in Colorado. Let's move on now. How much rain have we seen across the last 24 hours? Lots of rain in Oklahoma. I drove through a lot of puddles this morning. The southern portion of the U.S., yeah, we've got lots of rain across the western portion of Texas, and then we've got a very, very large swath of rain that came through, or rainfall, I guess. These are your rainfall totals that came through anywhere from Louisiana all the way up to the East Coast. And for that, I want to bring in meteorologist Martin Lauermore. Now, Martin, we have on our board right here a level 2 flood risk for today. Scattered flash flooding possible. This is not our only day for flash flood potential. We're also watching for flash flood on Friday and Saturday. Break down, when do people need to be concerned about that flash flood issue?
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of difference between, flooding, flash flooding, warnings, advisories, a lot of different things out there that we really do talk about when it comes to those watches and warnings. So you're seeing what Taylor's seeing right there on the screen. You've got those areas that are sitting in the scattered flash flooding for a lot of Oklahoma, Texas. If you just want to step off there real quick, just so we could show it real quick, just so we can see a lot of those areas in that level 2. Now, luckily no level 3, but when we advance over in time, couple days, we do see a little bit of that moving over to the east into parts of the Appalachians. We get into our Saturday, it's back in Texas yet again. So it is a very active time for the next couple of days across Texas. And funny enough, it is actually in Texas what they are calling right now their flood safety week. So John, could you pull up my screen real quick just so we can actually see what they're talking about? So I want to give you the differences between these flash flood, or the watch warning advisories over this next week or so, because we are going to be seeing these chances for these storms to bring a lot of rain. So the difference between a flood and a flash flood is flood normally occurs over multiple days or just an entire day. Flash flooding can happen within just a few minutes. So a lot of those areas can really see flooding almost instantaneously, just within a few minutes. And that usually is caused by very heavy rainfall, even sometimes severe storms. We will usually see sometimes with these severe storms, flash flood warnings occurring alongside severe thunderstorm warnings. So you're looking at advisory, watch, and warning. Now, advisory usually means that flooding is occurring, but it's not exactly extreme flooding. You might be seeing some ponding on the roadways, you might be seeing a little bit of ponding in your road or in your yard or something like that, but it's not really causing a huge issue yet. Now, when you get to a watch, that's something you normally see 12 to 24 hours ahead of time, saying, hey, we could be seeing some flooding or flash flooding within this next day or so. And then when you get to the warning, that's when you need to be taking action. If you're going to be driving, maybe don't drive. That's really going to be the best thing to do, especially on those areas that you do see a lot of, everybody knows those areas that flood. You have those areas. Best to stay away from them during a flood or a flash flood warning. The thing is with a flood warning is that those usually last for a long time. Meanwhile, you're looking at just your flash flooding. That could just be a few hours that you could be seeing that occurring. So it's only a short-term thing when it comes to flash flooding. It's really just because it's coming down so quickly. We actually had a flash flood emergency a few days ago. I believe it was I think it was northern Missouri. And they had, I believe Taylor, it said 5 to 8 inches had already fallen, expecting another 3 to 4. That is an immense amount of rainfall in what was essentially an hour and a half. And that is one of those situations where it's like, you absolutely should not be driving or really just going outside in general.
Yeah, and it's not, oftentimes it's not about how much rain you get, it's about how fast you get it. So if that comes in too fast, where does that water go? It's ponding on the roadways, it can't sink into the soil fast enough, and that's whenever you get that flash flood emergency. So keep an eye out for that over the next few days as we have more of these showers and storms moving in. Now, while we are getting some much needed rain across these areas because our drought risk is absolutely very, very high across some of these areas over here, especially in the western portion of Oklahoma and Texas. We need this rain, but again, if it comes in too fast, then it causes that flood risk. It's too much of a good thing. So that's what we're watching for over the next few days. Let's talk about your storm risk as well. So there's the rain, but where are those storms? Today, again, we're talking about the eastern portion of Colorado, western portion of Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and Nebraska. But for tomorrow, we are watching for the western portion of Oklahoma and Texas. So we go back down, including Oklahoma City here, with a low risk for storms, especially later on in the evening. Amarillo, Childress, all included in that higher level of risk there. We are calling it the level 2, the moderate zone for hail tomorrow. How large could those hailstones get? I would say 2 inches are absolutely possible. Maybe if we're lucky, we could get up to tennis ball. That may be a little bit more unlikely. We've got some strong winds likely across the western portion of the states as well. We've got another little area. So this is what I was talking about your short waves, where we've just got one wave over here, another wave over here, causing some marginally severe storms across places like Lexington, Kentucky. And that includes a tornado risk with that as well. That goes all the way down to the south. And actually, because that tornado risk has recently been extended, I do want to zoom out on this graphic. Again, this is brand new information about the newest tornado risk across the southern portion of Mississippi and Alabama, including Birmingham in that risk, and Nashville, Tennessee. So brand new information. This was not issued until about the last half hour for that tornado risk. So keep an eye on that. Again, that's your Friday. For hail, again, we'll return to that hail issue for tomorrow. We could see western side of Oklahoma, the eastern portion of the Texas Panhandle, getting the best chances for large hail tomorrow. As you get into more of those big cities like Oklahoma City and Amarillo, your colors go into those white areas, these milky white areas. That means small hail. If we could get maybe some of those orange and red areas, let's see if we could check out Lubbock tomorrow evening. All right, not too bad. I think that storms may be just a tiny bit to the east of Lubbock, but we could still get some large hail in these areas for tomorrow. And again, all of this thanks to a very weak trough. So oftentimes for severe weather, we want this type of trough. However, we want it to be a lot stronger. So we want a strong trough. This is very, very weak. So what ends up happening, because it's so weak, we get these little short waves that are coming through, and you can kind of see, you see these little dips in the trough right here. These are these little short waves coming through, and that's why we have, one risk over here, one risk over here, because of these short waves coming through. And it's not an overall severe weather outbreak. It's more of that marginally to slight severe weather risk. So 2 areas to watch for today. We've got a marginal risk there highlighted in green, and then we've got a slight risk for eastern Colorado just to the east of Denver. A brand new update to your Friday severe weather risk includes portions of Mississippi, Alabama, and northern Georgia. Again, an all hazards risk here, but the main severe weather hazards are going to be wind and the potential for a tornado or 2 over here in the east. And then hail will be your main risk in Oklahoma and Texas. And then for for Saturday, I do expect to have another severe weather risk. However, nothing has been issued at the moment. And again, that's just because these short waves are a little finicky, which means that we really won't know what's going to happen until a day or 2 before we get there. Other than that, it's much cooler today. Everyone's felt that. Got long sleeves on today. I'm sure that everyone else probably brought a jacket to work. If you didn't bring a jacket, you're wishing that you did. Through the weekend, it's Memorial Weekend, it's going to be pretty chilly out there, especially for Saturday. It'll warm up for some on Sunday and Monday, and then that's whenever we see our next chance for severe weather as we head into the middle of next week. So this weekend, for the most part, we're going to be severe clear for most of us. Then as we head into next week, those temperatures warm back up. We get some moisture in here as well, and that's whenever we see the next chance for severe storms. Speaking of temperatures, what does it look like as we head into the end of the month? So this is the 26th through the 30th, the very end of May. It looks like temperatures are going to be warming back up. And then we've got another chance for a lot of rain across this area as well, across the south. We're watching for some very active weather, either bringing us good rainfall totals or some severe weather. And that's your forecast for today. I don't think that we have too many questions today. We're all good on questions, John says. John, thank you for producing today. In the meantime, follow us on all forms of social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We post all kinds of cool tornado videos on there, hail videos, as well as weather updates on these platforms. And also give us a call for a wind, hail, or tornado map at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. Head over to our website, hailtrace.com, for more weather updates. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox. We'll see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow.